Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's June 25th, and the time is 7:30. I'd like to call this City Council meeting to order. Would you please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would the clerk please call the roll?
Cannon.
Here.
Budmats.
Present.
O'Brien.
Here.
Bessetti.
Here.
Diastis.
Present.
Sonoyka.
Here.
With 6 present and no one absent, this is a quorum. Therefore, members of the audience are reminded that these proceedings are being videotaped for current and future broadcast over the city's cable television channel. Moving on, the first order of business is to approve the minutes from June 11th, 2019 City Council meeting. Is there a motion to approve these minutes?
So move.
Alderman O'Brien's made it. Thank you, Alderman Cannon, for the second. Are there any corrections, additions, or deletions? Seeing none, the question is, shall the minutes be approved? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it, and those minutes shall be approved. Next up, it looks like we have opportunity to discuss the 4th of July parade marshals and the winners. Is there a motion to deviate? Thank you, Alderman Budmats for the first and Alderman Cannon for the second. Is there any discussion? Great. Then seeing none, all those in favor of deviation, say aye.
Aye.
What I'd like to do when this starts working is call Ms. Annette Zaffron up to the floor.
Good evening, Mayor Gallo.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good, thank you. Why don't you go ahead and give us a brief rundown of what you're doing and how we can expect to run this with the wonderful participants and winners.
Last year was our first year of having parade marshals, and to be a parade marshal, they had to fill out an application and also submit a short essay and or pictures. And we had 3 that did that this year that I'd like to present to you and to our council members. I'll call them up. Veronica Miller is our first, and we have Levi Thomas, and we have Miles Thomas.
Congratulations, guys.
So each of them wrote some nice essays to submit. Turn around this way so everybody can see how wonderful you are. And Levi, you're 10 years old. What school do you go to?
I homeschool.
Homeschool. And what about you, Miles?
Homeschool.
And what about you, Veronica?
Campbell Hill School.
Okay. And what grade are you going to be going into?
5th. Second.
Wow, okay. So I wanted to point out that most of you wrote that how much you like to see the parade. Have you ever been in the parade before? No. So do you think this is going to be kind of an exciting adventure for you? Very enthusiastic, and we like that because you'll be in a wagon that's going to be pulled by 2 horses. And while you're in the wagon, you'll be tossing out candy to those people along the line, the parade route. So hopefully you'll have some good aims, but not too good because we don't want. No, we don't want to do that. Just a simple toss is going to be fine. And I wanted to also point out how artistic all of you are, but Veronica submitted a beautiful picture. She actually put in here, Mayor, look at how our road looks. She even put a yellow line between, and all the people that are involved looking at our parade. So she did such an excellent job. They all did. So they are to be congratulated. And part of your recognition for being a parade marshal for 2019, you're going to wear an official shirt that day, which my friend here on our committee, Pat Wright, she'll be giving you the shirt. And you'll also be getting a certificate of recognition for being a parade marshal. And, yeah, turn them around. And also part of the pre-parade festivities, each of you will be getting a little gift bag that we will be distributing along the parade route, but you're going to have first crack at it. So we hope that you like that. These were provided to the city by one of our vendors, Christopher Burke Engineering, and we thank him for doing that for us. And it has City of Rolling Meadows, and it has a picture of a horse, because this year, one of the exciting things in our parade is that we're having the Budweiser Clydesdale horses. You'll have horses on your wagon, but the Clydesdales will be probably in the front of the parade. So we're hoping those that are watching the show tonight, everyone will come out to see this. It's a very spectacular sight to see, and there'll be a lot of interesting things you'll find out about the Clydesdales. So with that, I thank each of you, and we look forward to having a great day on July 4th. Congratulations to each of you.
And Mom and Dad, if you're out here in the audience, feel free to come up and take some pictures. Have a quick 2-5 minutes for picture time if you'd like. Thank you, and congratulations to all you little guys. I appreciate this and look forward to seeing you come up front of the parade. Annette, thank you for speaking on this. Thank you. Can I have a motion to close the floor? Thank you, Alderman Budmats. Thank you, Alderman Cannon. All those in favor of closing the floor?
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. We'll move on. Picking up with mayor's reports. There's been a lot going on. A lot of time has passed since June 15th when Reps Place Anniversary Bash in the park. It was a great time by residents. I had a lot of positive feedback, and we can look forward to Reps hosting the luncheon after the 4th of July parade as well in the Dominic's Jewel parking lot. Another thing I wanted to give a quick update on was regarding my appointments for the 4th Ward, as well as appointments for additional committees. I know that it feels like it's been forever. I feel like I've been taking forever on this decision as well, but I've been waiting for a little bit of feedback and information on some of our committees, some of the charters, and some of the output that they have done. I've noticed that there have been a couple gaps in appointments or participants, and I just want to make sure all of this is in order before I make commitments for individuals participating. And by the beginning of our July session, I should have a decision made on the 4th Ward alderman to sit in that seat. Are there any ward reports at this time? Alderman Budmats.
I received a call from a constituent who was, I wasn't at the meeting, the council of the whole meeting, and she was kind of disappointed that the item number 6 for the council of the whole about the primary election came up. She felt that it was reactionary to the election and not necessarily, and more of an emotional appeal because there were no facts or figures associated with it. And she's like, I really wish the election were over. And I had to concur with her that it feels like we need to, as a city and a council, put the election behind us and move forward, because we need to work together unified rather than trying to sort out what did and didn't happen at the last election. Secondary, in Robert's rules for dummies, because that's how I learn, it says, call for the orders of the day does not apply, specifically says the motion is not permitted in a committee of the whole meeting. So for future use, I would just make that known. I can provide it in writing for any of the members who want to see it, but it really isn't appropriate to use it in that setting according to Robert's rules.
Thank you. Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Any other ward reports?
I had a couple, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
Just a couple. We've been working closely with Rob. A few residents are having concerns along the planting, the bike path. So I do want to let them know we have been in contact with a few that have reached out. The latest update on that as of this afternoon, which I relayed to the residents yesterday afternoon, the same message after talking to Mr. Horn, is current planting, fencing is complete. Another review will be done in the fall time and then again in the springtime, because there was concern about some of the privacy that some of the trees that were removed took away from people's backyards on Euclid. City's been very amenable to that, potentially planting more bushes if it's in the budget, if it's in the progress plan. But the ones are planted now. The fence is up or in the process of going up, is completion. Another review will be done in the fall, another one in the spring to see how the vegetation's taking. So I just wanted to circle back with that. And then also thanks to Chief Nowacki too for continuing to monitor the Campbell and Cardinal intersection. I saw on the weekly note, so I know the residents at that intersection appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim, do you have anything to add in addition to Alderman Budmatt's report regarding our general counsel and parliamentary proceedings?
Actually, following the last council meeting, the committee of the whole, I do agree with Alderman Budmatt's. I mean, that is correct, and there's some additional input that I could share with you. I know I've shared with the city manager since last Tuesday night, but yeah, the motion to call the order of the day at a committee of the whole meeting is not appropriate, and so I should have called it. I didn't. Quite frankly, never dealt with a motion to call the order of the day. So that's on me.
Thank you. Moving on, it does appear as though we have some signatures on our sign-in sheet. So prior to me calling these individuals up, I do have to read the following. In order to secure the rights of citizens of the city and to a fair and just representation before the elected officials, and to guarantee the elected officials an order and dignified form in which to conduct the city's business, no person shall be allowed to engage in any activity that will disturb or disrupt the orderly proceedings of the City Council. Per rules of procedure, the public is to address the City Council, and the fact that no member of the City Council responds does not mean that the City Council or any member thereof agrees or disagrees with the comment. In order to attain this objective, the following rules of conduct are hereby established. Any person who seeks to address the City Council at this time for public comments shall be permitted to speak only upon recognition of the presiding officer, and such person shall adhere to the following provisions. Each person addressing the City Council shall state their name and their address for the record. Matter of fact, to preserve personally identifiable information, your first name and street name will do. Each person shall be granted no more than 5 minutes of the allotted time in order to address the City Council. Questions and/or commentary shall be limited to city business. Comments supporting or opposing a nominated person's candidacy for elective office of the city shall be out of order. Questions, commentary shall be directed to the presiding officer unless the presiding officer permits the individual to address council members or other city officers present. Discussion shall take place in a professional manner which displays mutual respect. Profanity shall not be used in any form or manner. So with that, the first name on the signature list is Mark Hasse.
is Mark Hasse, 2307 Wilkie Road. I put down on the piece of paper that I want to talk about the town. I grew up in Skokie, nice town. Went to Morton Grove, nice town. You know, everybody friendly there. Then I moved to Chicago, and that's a whole different ballgame. I'm sure everybody knows whether people have lived there or not, but it's not good. The only thing that was good was the aldermen. You were there for 3-4 days, and they were knocking at the door, you know. You got to know them, and all you had to do, sometimes you didn't even have to call. It was like kind of creepy that they knew you were looking for them. Then I came to Rolling Meadows, and to tell you the truth, I heard nothing about the town. The they were good houses, built well, and that's what brought me in the first place, and been here 30-some years and love it. It's kind of like the small town, Mayberry. I don't want to offend anybody, but I mean, it's a great town, and I've loved it the whole time. Lately, I'm kind of disappointed. You hear enough politics that's going on in government. You know, you can't even watch TV anymore hardly. And I'm going to behave myself today when I'm speaking. And I just want everybody to realize that this is about the town. It's not about personal things that are going on, who won, who lost. It's about us. It's about you guys, and it's about us. And I think that's the important thing about it. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Megan G.
My name is Megan Gallic, and I live on Raven Lane in the 4th Ward. Mr. Mayor and City Council, my husband and I were intrigued by the June 18th Committee of the Whole conversation regarding the possibility of adding primary elections when there are more than 3 candidates in a particular race. We found the conversation disjointed and lacking information, so my husband decided to pull some data from the Cook County Clerk's Office website to share. He spent about 3 hours preparing a spreadsheet based on publicly available information, which was shared on community Facebook pages and emailed to the council. Unfortunately, he has a work event tonight, so I wanted to share some reflections that him and I have discussed on the topic and the research over the last week. Most races in the state of Illinois require a plurality. Rather than focusing on the final percentage of the winning candidate, it is far more important to get as many people engaged in city politics and planning as possible, in our opinion. In that regard, Rolling Meadows and our neighboring cities are failing. The past 5 consolidated elections, 2009 to 2019, Rolling Meadows has seen between 6 and 22% voter turnout for mayoral elections and 2 to 30% for aldermanic elections. Suburban Cook County has seen an average of 14 to 21% in the same time. Only 14% of the 20,112 registered voters in Rolling Meadows voted in the last election. A 10% change in a citywide candidate's vote would be 283 votes. Nothing to brush off, but taken into context of the entire registered voter population, that 10% increase in votes for one candidate is only an additional 1.4% of all registered voters. That does not sound like a significant increase. Neither my husband nor I are statisticians, and we recognize that there are many variables that affect voter turnout. We feel confidently, though, that one surefire way to increase turnout is to make residents feel like they are being heard by their elected officials. More candidates running is a positive step in that direction. Adding primary races for 3 or more candidates would place a greater burden of money as well as time on not just the city, but candidates and residents as well. Our most interesting finding was how many candidates have run in past Rolling Meadows elections. Since 2005, there have been 34 elections for alderman or mayor in our city. 5 have involved more than 3 candidates, and 12 have involved 2 candidates. That means that 17 of the last 34 elections, 50%, have had just one candidate running unopposed without a choice for residents. To me, this is much more troubling than a candidate winning an election with less than 50% of the vote. That means that there is a shortage of residents who are eager to work continuously to improve our city. Additional statistics were uncovered from the suburban Cook County election results were in regards to the number of local races utilizing a primary election. We found 12 races for alderman or mayor-type positions from towns such as Harvey and Evanston. 8 out of 12 elections had the same candidate win the primary and the general election. Why spend money holding a second election when the first one was both democratic and transparent, and 2/3 of the time the same result was produced? If the council truly believes that 50% is a powerful threshold that elected officials must cross, and if anything less than 50% is inadequate, then I ask, why a primary election to reduce the candidate count? I believe that ranked choice voting, or RCV, would be an alternative that would not require additional cost or effort by the city or candidates. RCV would not place an additional burden on residents to vote twice for the same race and would not count some residents' voices twice and others only once. But even this, I believe, is unneeded in some sense when we still have such a low voter turnout and, more worryingly, few candidates wanting to run. I hope your further discussions on this topic are more informed and fruitful. Please contact myself or my husband if you have further questions about our statistics. And lastly, please think of the larger purpose of democracy, not just percentages. We need more voters, not more elections. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. And last on the list is Mark M.
Hello. It's about 3303 Hawk Lane, Rolling Meadows, Mark Milhop. I'd like to thank the mayor for putting a stop to Taylor Morris without supplying a silt fence and a construction fence before they did any demo that's going on over there. I don't know why the town would issue a demo permit without having construction fence and a silt fence. That's just telling kids, come on and play in here. It's a lawsuit on a lot of people's hands there. Rolling Meadows, Taylor Morris, the construction outfit. I went by and checked on the silt fence. It's still not properly installed. It's not trenched in. There's a bunch of erosion outside on the residents' property. Nothing's cleaned up. It looks like somebody with no experience or very little experience installed it. The silt fence is supposed to be outside of the construction fence. And there should be postings of a sign that says silt fence approval for construction and demolition to proceed. On my job sites, we have, if we take down a silt fence, we have to reestablish at the end of the day. Just like barricades and everything for safety matters. Because once somebody starts suing, it just keeps rolling down. And it's a cost to the city. But I'd like to know why we issued and started the demolition in there without permits and without the silt fence being put in and the fence without being inspected. And there should be restrictors in all the drains, because all that debris that floats around with all the rain we've been having, that's getting in our storm sewers. We'll have to get vac trucks in there to clean it out. That's a cost to the residents. I mean, we got to start checking into this stuff and following through with it before we proceed, before somebody gets hurt. Because there was kids on the site when there was no fence in there. Once one kid is in there, you'll have 12 in there. And that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to pending ordinances in for second reading. This brings us to ordinance number 19-34, appoint Mayor Joe Gallo to the Joint Action Water Agency, also known as JAWA. Is there a motion to adopt this ordinance? Alderman Bud Matts made the first. Thank you, Alderman Cannon, for the second. Is there any discussion on this? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Bud Matts.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Bessesi.
Yes.
Diastis.
Yes.
Sunoika.
Yes.
Cannon.
Yes.
With 6 in favor and none opposed, this ordinance is approved, excuse me. Seeing as how there's no consent ordinances, we'll move on to new business, and that new business is to approve payment of bills on warrant for June 25th, 2019. Is there a motion to approve the warrant?
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Sonoyka has made it. Alderman Cannon for the second. Any discussion on the payments? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
O'Brien.
Yes.
Bessesi.
Yes.
Diastis.
Yes.
Sunoika.
Yes.
Cannon.
Yes.
Bud Matts.
Yes.
With 6 in favor and unopposed, the warrant is approved. The next item is the consent resolutions. There's only one on the agenda. It consists of a single item for resolution number 19R-72. Is there a motion to adopt this resolution?
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Sunoika.
Second.
Thank you, Alderman O'Brien. The resolution number 19-R-72, amend the fiscal year 2019 fund balance, reallocation of reserving funds for the fiscal year 2020 budget. There's quite a bit of background that I would like to read before I open it up for discussion, just to be clear on this. Following the fiscal year 2018 audit as presented during the June 18th Committee of the Whole meeting, it's now recommended that the following reductions and reallocations from the general fund be made for the health of the city finances. The city's total outstanding pension liabilities are at a very high level. They exceed $211 million. Additional funding is needed to bring down these liabilities. For fiscal year 2018, the city's unassigned general fund balance is $9.6 million approximately, which is roughly 30.9% of expenses to the fund balance. The policy for the general fund is to maintain a range of 15 to 30% of expenses to fund balance. The reserves are at the top of this range of the policy, and staff is recommending reducing the reserves from 30.9% to 26.1%, which is $8.1 million, or approximately 3 months of the reserves. The $1.5 million derived from the reduction would be allocated as follows. $500,000 as an additional contribution to the police pension for fiscal year 2019, $500,000 as an additional contribution to the fire pension fund in fiscal year 2019, $100,000 as an additional contribution to the Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund, or IMRF, for fiscal year 2019, and $400,000 to the 2019 property tax levy for the fiscal year 2020 budget. Is there any discussion on this?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Sunoika?
I would like to request clarification from staff in 2 parts regarding additional note number 5 in the packet. As reminder with, quoting, as reminder with the fiscal year 2019 budget, the City Council approved a multi-year approach for the tax levy and accumulated reserves to lower the tax levy increase for the fiscal year 2020 budget. The first part of the question or clarification I'd like is, what was the original tax levy increase for the fiscal year 2020 budget envisioned during the 2018 budget process for the 2019 fiscal year? And the second, and I can repeat the second as well, is the cause of the increase in that first question the same cause of the tax increase we see in this working draft?
So to address your, Alderman Sunoika and City Council, to address your first question, in terms of the draft of there is no draft of the tax levy in preparation as for the 2020 budget. But when we're looking at both years, it was a multi-year approach. And the approach was to accumulate reserves in the 2019 budget that could be used for the debt service payment for 2018 and 2019 bonds. And then at the same point, look ahead as best as possible with pensions, because the reason for, as mentioned at the June 18th Committee of the Whole meeting, the reason for the tax levy working scenario increase is due to pensions. And so when we're looking at both years, you're balancing those factors. And so what at that point in time, we estimated at some point at about a 4.9, 4.8%, similar to past years. That's been sort of the standard policy over the several years with the City Council, looking at those pieces. When we looked at the 2020 budget, you have just basic parameters because you do know that there will be some sort of pension increase based on the fact that the liability is so high. So at that point, we were looking at anywhere from a 4.8 to 4.9% and trying to figure out how to reduce that for the burden of the taxpayers overall. And then I think the cause of the tax levy, again, pensions, as we discussed previously.
As a follow-up to that, what are the benefits of increasing our contributions towards pensions at this point? through reserves.
Well, anytime, to your point, Alderman Sonoyka, anytime you can reduce your overall pension liability with additional funding provides that then there's more in the fund to earn investments. Unfortunately, last year was not the best of years for pension funds, as we discussed at the committee of the whole meeting. At the same point, when you do have additional funds in your pension fund, then you're making sure that there is money in there earning investments rate of return.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? Well, then seeing none, the question is, shall the resolution be adopted? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Hasse,
Yes.
Diastis.
Yes.
Sonoyka,
Yes.
Cannon,
Yes.
Bud Matts,
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
With 6 in favor and none opposed, this resolution is approved. That now brings us to other business and reports. Other business, Mayor's proclamation. We have an upcoming, well, a couple months away, but it'll be here before you know it, National Night Out. And so we have the National Association of Town Watch is sponsoring a unique nationwide crime, drug, and violence prevention program on August 6, 2019, entitled National Night Out. And the 36th Annual National Night Out provides a unique opportunity for Rolling Meadows to join forces with thousands of other communities across the country in promoting cooperative police community crime prevention efforts, and it is essential that all citizens of Rolling Meadows be aware of the importance of crime prevention programs and the impact that their participation can have on reducing crime, drugs, and violence. I, Mayor Joe Gallo, do hereby call upon all citizens of Rolling Meadows in the state of Illinois to join the City of Rolling Meadows and the National Association of Town Watch in supporting the 36th Annual National Night Out on August 6, 2019. Further, let it be resolved that I, Mayor Joe Gallo, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, August 6, 2019 as National Night Out here in Rolling Meadows. I'm told there's going to be some skydivers again, Alderman Crumstock.
We are starting with the skydivers this year, so be there early. And then obviously we have additional events and different activities throughout the night.
That's really exciting. Last time my kids were in awe when the skydivers appeared. So moving on from the proclamation, we have City Clerk report, which is none. Okay. That will bring us to staff reports, community items of interest. Manager Crumstock.
Thank you, Mayor Gallo and City Council. And I do have one to add. Obviously, just it's a more of an announcement than anything else. But the topics that you have before you is obviously thank you very much to obviously the CEF and everybody else who comes out to our Friday Rocks. We did have the first one that happened on Friday, June 14th. The next one is scheduled for Friday, July 19th. And again, this event happens between 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. This time for the July 19th meeting, we will have the musical group called 1976. What I do want to remind people is that obviously the first one was cut a little short due to wind and rain, and I guess you might call Mother Nature had enough in the music, but it was good. So we do want to remind people this is only the first one. We are on the second Friday Rocks. We hope that people do come out. We do want to mention that if you missed the Saturday, June 22nd bike ride that was sponsored by the Environmental Committee, the next one is scheduled for Saturday, July 20th. They do start at 9 a.m. at the Community Church, 2720 Kirchhoff Road. If you have any questions, there's an alderman who would be more than happy to explain it to you. You do need a helmet for these rides. And then if you obviously missed our last Farmers and Food Truck, or City Market, our next one is scheduled for Saturday, July 20th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., also at the Community Church. We do want to mention to people that there is a city blood drive that will be conducted here in the council chambers this Thursday, June 27th from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. We do want to remind people that the Meadows Cruisers are back at Meadows Christian Fellowship. They are located at 2401 Kirchhoff Road on Friday nights. They go from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. We do know sometimes they're a little bit past 8 p.m., but that's their end time. They go all the way through September 6th. This is a family-friendly event. We hope that people do go to that too. Obviously, what was mentioned earlier in the night, and you did meet the Marshals, the three of them, We do want to have that friendly reminder that the July 4th, there is a parade that starts at 11:30. Obviously, with the Budweiser Clydesdales here, we will be having viewing before that, and it's going to be on Barker Road. That's what's actually good. If you're working on a bridge, you can close off a road and put the horses down that area. We do tell people be there early because the horses are at the beginning of the parade, and then when they're done with their section, they will be going to the parking lot outside of Rep's area, and that's where they'll be taking off everything. It's about 45 minutes right after they're done putting all the horses back into the trailers and everything else. They do need to go to another location. But we do want to mention that, obviously, as Mayor Gallo stated, we do have another event for the city, and after 4th of July parade activity outside of Rep's Place. We do thank all the sponsors. We'll have more information about that in a little bit. And then obviously at dusk, we do have our fireworks that happens at Salt Park. We say at dusk. If people typically want to know, we say 9:15 is roughly dusk, but don't hold us to it, because once it gets dark enough, we start launching. Not me personally, but that's a different story. But we also do want to remind people that with Thursday, July 4th, City Hall and Public Works will be closed in observance for the 4th of July holiday. Refuse will be delayed for the rest of that week, so Thursday turns into Friday, Friday turns into Saturday. And then we do want to mention coming up is that the parking lot party from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. will be happening at the Community Center on 3705 Pheasant Drive on Saturday, July 13th. Obviously, there's food, drinks. Get your reservations in for your spot over at the parking lot party. The music will be provided by the headband. There's actually another little group that comes out too, but High Five Superstar. They start at 7 p.m. And again, this is another enjoyable family event. And then we do want to mention that on it actually started, but just for people to know that on Monday, June 17th, the Rolling Meadows Police Department began 4th of July crackdown on impaired drivers and seatbelt law violations. This is a safety campaign that is scheduled to run all the way through July 8th. Rolling Meadows is joining with the Illinois State Police and more than 160 local police and sheriff departments throughout the state of Illinois for this increased statewide enforcement efforts. We do want to remind people that the June e-news and views can be found on the city website. Please visit www.cityrm.org and click on the News and Views tab. Because it's the last meeting of the month, we do want to mention for July, the committee meetings. Economic Development Committee will not be meeting. The Planning and Zoning Commission will be meeting on Tuesday, July 2nd at 7:30 p.m., here in the council chambers. There are 5 tentative items for the public hearing. Hold on for this because it's a long read. A sign appeal for an electronic billboard sign at 3105 Tollview Drive. That's in our M1 manufacturing district. Sam Rody of Gembard Media is the petitioner. This was actually continued from April 17, 2019. There's a text amendment to the zoning code of ordinances to update section 122-27D12. That's the temporary seasonal outdoor seating section. That's the city of Rolling Meadows is the petitioner on that. That was actually continued from March 5th, 2019. There's number 3, an amendment to the Meyer Plan Development for modifications and increased size to the building signage and 2 new vehicle charging stations at 1301 Meadow Drive. That's the C2 General Commercial Service District. Tommy Miner of J&S Electric and Signs is the petitioner for Myers on that one. We have number 4, which is final approval of a 2-lot subdivision for property located at 4190, 4200 Euclid Avenue, M1 Manufacturing District. James Anderson, Midwest Euclid Properties, is the petitioner. And finally, on that night, number 5 is going to be a variance request to the side yard setback for a building addition at 3737, 3837 Industrial Avenue. That's in our M1 Manufacturing District. Nancy Lee Carlson of Lehman Peterson Corporation is the petitioner. The one item that I do want to add, which is actually very new, is that at the recent Chamber of Commerce Board meeting, we did find out that they are going to be hiring for an executive assistant. We do have a job description that should be on our website soon, too. The current employee has actually got another job and leaving. So executive Director Linda Ballantyne is in the process of filling that assistant position. We do have more information. Again, I do have a flyer if anybody else, and it will be on our website. So if you know someone looking for really about 32 hours a week, there's obviously pay and some additional benefits. Please see us or see our website.
Thank you, Manager Krumstock. May 2019 new business.
Actually, May was pretty good month. We had 5 new businesses. I do want to mention 4 of them out of the 5. Sunset Pools and Spas, if the council will remember, they were here before, obviously taking 1675 Hicks and renovating that. Perfect Turf, 5540 Meadow Court, that's another one that everybody should remember, that was in the 6B section. And then Fuller's Car Wash, 2765 Algonquin Road. Obviously, the city council gave some additional changes in the ordinance, and actually there were 2 individuals who are now on the council who used to be on the planning and zoning. You also had part of that too. So Fuller Car Wash is in there. They're obviously finishing some of their other pieces. And finally, Amish Farmers at 2122 Plum Grove Road. We did a nice ribbon cutting over there. I would tell people, if you have a chance, it's a nice Polish deli / market / a little bit of everything in there. And I would make the comment that very nice individual. This is their second one that they have. Obviously in Franklin Park is the first one, and really nice location. So those are the 4 out of the 5 that I would just want to mention.
Thank you. Moving on, the July 4th events. Ms. Cezak.
Thank you, Mayor. This year's July 4th parade will be remembered for generations. The City of Rolling Meadows has been chosen to host the official Budweiser Clydesdales as part of our parade this year. Thanks to the passion and determination of Kathleen Bakos, a community event foundation volunteer, we are thrilled to have these amazing horses for our celebration. The viewing for these horses can be seen on Barker, just south of Central Road, from 10 to 11 o'clock that morning. The city will also showcase the winners of the Youth Marshal Parade Contest, all of whom will be riding on a horse-drawn wagon, sporting their new T-shirts, and passing out goodies to spectators. Patriotic businesses and residents will join the festivities as they march along Central Road to Owl Drive to Kirchhoff Road, ending at Meadow Drive. The parade starts at 11:30 a.m. sharp from the Rolling Meadows High School parking lot. The city will also be hosting the first post-parade party with the help of Reps Place as the major sponsor. Held right after and at the end of the parade, join the city and Reps Place for a full day of live music by Full House and the Hillbilly Rockstars, with DJ Mix starting the show. Food, soda, and adult beverages will be served by Reps Place, and a variety of kid attractions will make this event a great time for the whole family. Held on Thursday, July 4th, right after the parade, from 1 to 8 p.m. in front of Reps Place at 3200 Kirchhoff Road. Thank you to the generous co-sponsors of this event, Anytime Fitness, Daisy's Cafe, and Miller Lite. And then finally, fireworks will be held at dusk. The city's annual July 4th display will light up the sky for miles around. The show will be centrally located in the field behind the community center for optimum viewing at many nearby parks and locations. We hope to see you on July 4th for all of these star-studded events. Thank you.
Thank you. For 38 years of attending 4th of July in Rolling Meadows, and the time that I can remember, I have never been disappointed by Rolling Meadows events for the 4th of July.
I agree.
And I look forward to it, but it's also my superficial delineation for the end of summer for me. So on a sad note, it's not good, but I'm excited to see it come. Moving on to staff reports, Rob Horn.
Yes,
some
Mayor.
information.
Thank you. At the June 11th meeting, I reported that the Kirchhoff Road would be paved through binder prior to the 4th of July. On June 12th, I was informed of a storm sewer collapse that occurred in the outer lanes, actually right across the street from City Hall, which delayed the project 7 days. Therefore, the surface will be in the rough ground condition as you see it today. However, starting on June 1st, the contractor and public works staff will be cleaning, patching, and preparing the section of Kirchhoff Road between Meadow and Owl to ensure no trip hazards and a safe viewing experience. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to getting the contractors to kind of make additional reparations in advance of missing the deadline on that. Moving on to matters not on the agenda. Are there any issues or subjects that council would like to bring up? Alderman Bessetti?
Just one quick one. On the 4th of July, do we know what time the roads are going to be closed?
Which road?
Central?
So,
Central will be closed about 11:15.
11:15 is what I've been told, so that parade goers and parade participants will be able to park in the nearby areas. We are asking all parade participants to park behind Rolling Meadows High School. Everybody else can park in the different Conyers Academy, Park Central, and Old Public Works. So 11:15 is the answer to your question.
Okay, just wanted to make sure people knew.
Alderman Cannon?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I had a couple of things. In my ward, there's 5 streets that are being redone this year. And some people, we told people the construction would start in the last week or so. It's been delayed a little bit, but major construction will start soon with the sewer work done first. And then actual road construction will start about July 1st. A lot of people are asking the question, so if anybody's watching, they'll get a feedback on that. The other thing I wanted to bring up, Mr. Mayor, is kind of a whole new area. As many people know, we have a body of water in my ward called Kennedy Pond. And unfortunately, there's a resident in that area who insists on feeding the wild animals big bags of corn and feed, like 50-pound bags. And unfortunately, the person has not been reasonable with other neighbors who are frustrated with that action. So I'm going to ask if we could at least look into an ordinance to stop this action. Our lawyer, Mr. McCall, has been very gracious in finding an ordinance in Elk Grove that would fit perfectly. And I would just ask that we would consider that as quickly as we can in the next COW meeting. It shouldn't take a lot of time, but I think it's a reasonable proposal. If you read the Elk Grove ordinance, it's pretty simple, but it's the point, but it would stop this action. It's really creating a big nuisance. That's also a park area for people who aren't familiar with it. And the birds are flocking to that area the feed is just left behind.
Sure.
So thank you for listening.
Understood. Manager Krumstock, do you think that there would be a feasibility and possibility of making its way to the next committee of the whole?
We will, and Alderman Cannon will write something up.
You heard it here, folks.
I have it written already.
Wonderful. Any other matters not on the agenda?
In response to that, doesn't the DNR already regulate and prohibit that action?
I think it's a good point to find out clarity on. I can go ahead and find out about that. The other thing, is there a homeowner association involved in your area as well that would have any sort of regulations or stipulation?
No, this is on
Okay.
public land. This is
Sure.
Palatine Park District where the event's taking place, where the feed's actually being left.
So would we have to get Palatine Park District potentially involved then, if you make that mention?
And maybe I would refer
Okay.
to police chief to see if, I don't think they want to be out regulating animal situations, but maybe he could give us a little insight as to what happened as we go forward. We don't necessarily need to, I'm getting them out of the cold blue tonight, so I don't expect them to have an answer, but I think we don't want the police department to have to regulate things if they're breaking the law, then they come out and make a situation and take care of it. It's a small issue. It's not, I don't think many people have...
Did I say Palatine Police? I meant Park District if I said it wrong.
And I can reach out to them in the
Okay.
meantime. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Any other matters not on the agenda? If not, then could I see...
I have one, Mr. Mayor. I'm sorry.
Sorry, Ms. Sonoyka.
I
missed
received a
that.
couple of emails from residents in various wards sharing pictures of their properties after the storms this weekend, and they inquired into what could be done from a city standpoint with regards to flood abatement. That's all.
Thank you. Any other matters not on the agenda? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn? Alderman Budmats, Alderman Cannon made the second. Thank you. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? This meeting is adjourned.